Hey everyone, McNaughty here, back with another video. This week we did some daily race C at the Mount Panorama circuit in Bathurst, New South Wales, Australia. This circuit boasts plenty of overtaking possibilities in a very technical mountain section of the circuit that can put you in the wall, and then you're racing in an instant. Racing hards and medium tires are required for this 10-lap race, and there are many viable Group 3 cars. However, the Nissan GT-R Turismo was the most popular, for sure due to its high top-end speed. But I actually decided to hop in to the Mercedes AMG GT3 car with no lap time set and actually very little practice. And that has resulted in me starting in P16 and actually just now crossing the start-finish line. Already 12 seconds into the race. However, as you can see, each corner is an opportunity to gain a position, and P15 and P14 are battling as we fast forward through the mountain straight into turn 2. Now, it's imperative that you get this one right, otherwise you'll be in a world of trouble as we begin our uphill climb of the mountain. As we go past this left-hand turn, it's a really short braking area. As we see already, the Canadian driver make a mistake and accelerate a little bit too fast out of that corner. We continue to go uphill until about this point here, and there are a couple sweeping left-handers, in this turn in particular, turn 10 I believe it is, as well as turn 11. It'd be wise to lift off the throttle a little bit, as even with that I went wide. As we go really quickly down the twisty and turny downhill section of the circuit before we reach our last hairpin left-hander here. Oh, and we actually don't hold a tight line and get a terrible exit, which is really bad as we go down the Conrad Straight. And at the end of the straight is the Chase, which is a sweeping right-hander with a good overtaking opportunity as you go into the braking zone. You definitely don't want to hit that curve on the left-hand side, as I just did now, because it really unsettles your car, as P12 just manages to hold it together. And we're back to the final turn, and actually take it a little bit wide, which causes the Porsche behind us to almost go into the back of us, and he manages to keep his car under control. So, one lap down, 9 to go. Hell, and we actually gained another position. Now, I wasn't kidding when I said there are plenty of chances to end your race on this circuit. And rather than elaborate on that point, I think it would just be better to take a look. Well, okay. I think you get my point. But we're going to take a look at a couple more races in the AMG. This one's starting in P8. Behind the Brazilian driver, Beto 22. Oh, into turn 1, he got held up a little bit. We actually go into the back of him. However, we're in the slipstream. But this is the reason right here why the Nissan GTR Turismo is so popular. See, right when I was pulling out of the slipstream, I couldn't overtake, despite me being in a powerful car myself. Into the uphill section. Just gonna tuck it in behind because there aren't really too many overtaking opportunities in this section of the circuit, unless you just want to end your race or punt someone into the wall. But it looks like he compromised his exit just a tad bit. We're gonna get a good run on him. Can we make it stick through turn 11? It looks like we're gonna play it safe here, as does the person behind me. And we're just gonna try and keep together, as the driver behind me does not. He actually ends up in the wall. But if we can stay close to Despeto 22, as he just gets a tad of oversteer, and we get a good exit, so it might be on here. We might be able to get an overtake done going into the chase. Now we pull out of his slipstream to go side by side, and again, just the pure top speed of the Nissan GTR is having us be neck and neck, despite me having the slipstream advantage earlier in that section. Now we're going to hold it on the inside, and now he has the inside going through that turn, and he's actually able to hold us off. So we go into the last corner of the lap, tucked behind him. And unfortunately, there's a Canadian driver who went off, and that compromised this Brazilian driver in P5, and we're going to send it up the inside, under braking, hold it on the apex, and we're able to get the overtake done and up into P5. Things are looking up for us after all of that chaos. Now we're going to skip ahead to lap 2 here, and we're in the slipstream of the American driver. And fortunately for us, he just decides to stop playing the game, and his car just goes off to the side there. I honestly don't understand what happened, but we'll take every position we can get at this point. Now, racing hards and mediums are required, and after lap 4, we decide to go into the pits to switch to those mediums and gain a speed advantage. The softer the tire, the more grip you have, higher speeds you can achieve, but the tire wear is increased, so they're better, but they don't last as long, which is why we can only afford to go 6 laps on them. Now, some people started on the medium tires, as you can see here, and generally the strategy is to do 6 laps on mediums and 4 laps on hards. So we started with hards, they started with the mediums, and as a result, we're on the better tire to end the race. So as multiple drivers go in the pits, we're going to get those positions that we had prior to pitting back. So there's 3 drivers in front of us, and we're only 9 seconds behind. And by the last lap, we're 5.5 seconds behind. And it looks like, yep, we're going to get an opportunity for a podium here. If we could just close out this last lap, as the American driver, Weiser 303 Racing, went off, and we're actually going to bring it home for a podium, dare I say. After all that, P3? Can we do any better? Well, let's take a look at this race. We start P7 this time, behind the same Brazilian driver as last race. And we're going to do a half send up the inside, and he closes that off quickly, and unfortunately that creates a bump that I'm sure P8, the Indian, didn't want to do for us, but works in our favor, as we have a racer just teleport off the circuit. Smoke, poof, disappear like a magician. And we're going to fast forward it later on in the laps, the downhill section. And we actually see that we have 2 racers with penalties. One for crashing into the wall, I assume, and one for a track limits. And P3 actually ends up in the wall again, so we get the overtake before the penalty zone. So now we can inherit P3 again. Alright, looking good so far. 2 seconds behind the leader just after 1 lap. Now we're going to fast forward a little bit further ahead into lap 2. And come around the corner. Just keep it on the circuit, but the Indian behind us has a run, so we decide not to challenge him down there. It's not really good to go 2x2, but just a lap later, we actually get P3 back, but from the Canadian driver. And we're back into a podium position, 4 seconds behind the leader. Now again, lap 4, we started on the hards. We're going to go to the mediums. And try to undercut our competitors. We're going to assume that they're on the mediums and they're going to go in for hards later on in the race. And fortunately for us, we come out with clear air in front and not too much of a challenge behind. See, the actual truth of it is Jay Rossi, who was ahead of us before, just stayed on hards for 1 more lap. So he actually has mediums that are fresher than ours. So it's going to be quite a challenge to catch up, as our mediums are a lap older. Fast forward ahead here to lap 6. We see the Canadian driver that we passed before was on mediums, so now he's going to switch to the hards. We're going to get that overtake done. And let's get further ahead here. And for some reason, the Indian goes wide here, and he has hazards on, so we're just going to go ahead and overtake him. Make a slight bit of contact with the wall, but not enough to cause a penalty, and we're back up to P3. Fast forward a little bit later in the 7th lap, and Despeto 22 goes in the pits with hards. I might have been a little bit too long on the hards, to be honest. But I guess it depends on the car. So we inherit P2, and we're 5 seconds behind the leader, but we're on much older tires. Fast forward another lap, we're 7 seconds behind, so it's not looking like we're going to be able to catch him. And by the time we get to the end of the race, that 6.7 interval stood, but moving up. P2, not bad. But I decided that was pretty much the best I could do with the AMG, and we switch over to the Suzuki, which a viewer of our stream let me in on to try. He gave me a tip, and then there was another YouTube video by a well-known racer named Super GT that highlighted the strengths of this car, and you're about to see that strength right now. Now, Nissan GT-R Nismo, that's a car that had a high top end, but this car, in a straight line, untouchable. But we're actually going to zoom into the radar because this first right-hander, as we try to keep it on the inside, we actually get turned into and put in the wall. But I'll spare you the trials and tribulations this time, and we actually recover to finish P5. The guy who actually went into us finished first, so I guess kudos to him. But after a couple days, I decided to go back to the Tiger livery and the Nissan GT-R myself, and see what this car could really do. And fortunately enough, we actually started P2. So if we get the strategy right and are able to keep it close to Nomanic, if we're able to keep it close to Nomanic and hope that he's on the opposite strategy as us on the hards, we're on the hards and he's on the mediums, there's a potential that we can get an overtake done later on in the race, but we're going to have to try and keep it close, as he actually goes wide here, but it doesn't bode well for us as an overtaking spot. Just just got to try and keep it close to him as we go through the mountain section, and maybe on the back straight we'll have an opportunity. Into the sweeping left-handers. He actually takes it wrong. We have a bit of a run, and he actually goes off, so we might have an opportunity to get P1 right now. Oh, and he just cuts us off. So we're gonna have to stay behind for now. And right here, for some reason, the game just decides, have a 1 second penalty. We don't want you to win. I was actually in disbelief because this race was done live, and I was actually in shock that I got a penalty there. But we have to serve it, and we actually lose P2 to Lou in the yellow GTR. Now we're gonna fast forward here to the next lap, and we actually are able to potentially get P2 back as they have a 1.5 second penalty, and we're actually only 2 seconds about 2 seconds behind the leader. So we're gonna try and get into the slipstream, which is 7.75 seconds, and we just miss out on that as he serves his penalty. But we actually have a better run on Lou, who's in front, and by the end of the 4th lap, we are tucked firmly into his slipstream. Now this is the moment where the strategy comes into play. This is the moment that matters the most. If he goes in on hards, we go in on hards, we're just gonna have to beat him on pace, but there's a chance that we can go in early, undercut, and finish the race on the softer tire and actually do it. Can we actually do it? Can we actually get a win as he fakes us out? We're just gonna go into the pits, and I'm just gonna let you guys see how this plays out. Well, that's the end of the video. Of course, we had to finish with a P1. But as always, I appreciate all the support. If you like what you saw, if you like the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe, tune into the live stream. And until next time, I'll see you. McNaughty out. Bye.